when we were doing Dark Side of the Ring, there were so many stories we would get that just couldn't fit into the episode because
Yeah.
the Dark Side of the Ring is just so concentrated like on one particular story. So over the years, Evan and I making that show, we would collect these stories and
We should have a party. We'll keep it small and your parents won't find out, I promise.
Just one of those stupid pranks. No reason to break up the party. Let's go.
you still got your Christmas tree up.
I
That's
got
awesome.
my Christmas tree up. I'm way behind with everything. So
No, man, keep it up. Keep it up. We keep ours up till February.
there you go. So it makes me feel better about myself being kind of lazy keeping it up. I mean, notice
Yeah.
this whole tree, it just had lights on it. It didn't even have any decorations. So I really went bare minimum this year. So.
It looks very ominous. Like it looks like it's like spying on you and just waiting for you to get off this call, and then who knows what's gonna happen.
I certainly have a lot more interesting stuff going on in my background than up front here. So,
Oh, awesome.
man, I'm loving your background, by the way, too. I'm trying to see, do you have like one of those machines in the back, the fortune teller one?
Oh, no, it's a claw machine.
Oh, or a
like,
claw machine. I was thinking one of
yeah.
the other ones, either one of those fortune teller ones or that's so
Yeah,
awesome.
those are cool. Yeah, no, when we go out into the wild and we like catch things in machines, we bring them back here and then catch them again.
That's awesome to have that at home, man. I've never seen that before. Never even heard of anyone having it. So that's pretty badass.
Oh, thanks, man.
I'm excited to talk to you. First of all, this concept of kids versus aliens, I remember in VHS 2, we're talking about 10
Yeah.
years ago about,
Yes.
there was a little portion of that film that was kind of dedicated. There was the inception of it, I guess, and now it's the full-blown version of it. 10 years later, we get to see. Was
I
this
know.
always the plan sort of thing that you're going to make this into like a feature longer version of it? And, we got the tease of it earlier for those that have seen VHS.
Yeah, well, when we made the short film and VHS 2 did really well, there was talk at the time of doing a feature film, but it never turned into anything real. And then I was talking to Brad Miska, who produces a bunch of the VHS movies, and we kind of just like we're expressing how like we've always loved that short and loved the idea of turning it into a feature. And he pitched it to Mark Ward at RLJE, and he said it was like his favorite segment from the VHS films, and
Wow.
he always wanted to see an R-rated kids movie. So he lit it faster than anything I've ever done. It was pretty much within like him greenlighting it. We started writing the script and we were in prep and production within like 5 months. It was the
Wow.
turnaround was so insane. But after 10 years of trying to get movies made, those guys just believed in me, and like I said, they greenlit it before there was even a script because they believed that I could do it, and they wanted to see me make another movie, and we did it really quickly. It was awesome.
Wow. Hey, I'm thinking right away, these kids have no restrictions in this movie. They are throwing F-bombs and everything around. Do you have to sign a consent form with the parents? You talk to their parents first? Like, I'm curious what this process is like, because I'm like, man, it must have been fun for them to literally just say everything they probably can't say around, adults or whatnot.
Yeah, I definitely like on set it was like a rule, and like it was kind of there was a license to like be bad. I just encouraged like them to be bad and and not worry about what their parents like were thinking. But the parents for all the kids were amazing. And during the audition process, I didn't get to choose like what pages they would like send to the kids to audition.
Mm.
And then I would get these audition tapes and the kids are swearing in them and just like going nuts. But I guess like, it showed the parents off the bat like what kind of movie this was, and if you're gonna get your kid to audition for it, they're gonna be swearing and saying
Yeah.
crazy shit. So yeah, it worked out. And some of the kids I could tell were nervous at first, like at the first script reading where we had the whole cast and crew around the table. I could tell like especially Dominic, who plays Gary, before he dropped his like first F-bomb, he like kind of looked up, and I think he like looked over to his dad, and his dad was like, "Go for it, go for
The
it."
permission. Once he had the license to do it, it was all
Oh, yeah.
all downhill from there.
The floodgates were open after that.
That's awesome. That's a cool thing too, because I'm sure they're not used to doing auditions like that too. So it's something new for
Yeah.
them in their careers too.
I can imagine, yeah. All their audition tapes were like so awesome, and I casted the kids to be, they're pretty close to their personalities, like on on the screen. And so
Uh-huh.
I was kind of looking for the kids as characters.
Interesting. And you know what? And what about the costumes and stuff? Did they get to pick theirs? Did you have a vision for each one of them? How they're going to dress up? I was curious about that aspect of it too.
Yeah, I had like a little I have like a little sketchbook actually.
Oh, nice.
But we couldn't afford to do like pre-production art or anything, so I would like draw like in my like sketchbook. I
That's
like
cool.
I have like all these like crazy little drawings that I would do. And one day I came into the production office, and they actually like took all my drawings and they printed them out and put them on the wall.
I
And
see
so-
they used a lot of them from what you're looking
Yeah,
over
yeah,
here.
you
They
know?
look very familiar,
Yeah, it's cool. Yeah, I got like the design of like the UFO in here.
Oh,
and-
that's
and-
awesome.
Oh, this was like, yeah, the kids like fighting making their little movie at the beginning
That's
of the
right,
movie. So
yeah.
you see, there's like the dinosaur sort of there. I drew that in this
Uh-huh.
book, and the costume designers, yeah, just took these drawings and they tried their best to try and make the kids look like that. But they all had different color combinations, kind of like, I was using the same sort of thinking that like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles would do, or
Uh-huh.
yeah, for me, every character has to look like they could be like a cool action figure. That's
It
a
kind
role
of
for
gave
me.
me like a mid 90s vibe to it, with like the look of like sort of like a Power Rangers, like the scheme,
Yeah.
color scheme, and kind of the style of it. It gave me a 90s kid. I'm a 90s kid, so
Yeah, that's
it really
awesome.
kind of, it was a little a nod to the 90s almost felt with the colors and the looks.
Yeah, I love that you see that. For me, the movie is like I'm wearing a lot of like my inspirations from like action figures and stuff that I grew up with in the 80s and 90s. And so like kind of even more so than than movie inspirations. It was a lot of like action figure lines that I was studying, and like I love the idea of like, I think a dream of mine is to be able to create like a property that could have an awesome like play set and like a whole action figure line. And so when I was dreaming about this movie, that's what I was thinking of. I was like, oh, you got to have like the cool vehicle, and which the kids have like this like lawnmower thing we call the beast mower,
Uh-huh.
and they got to have like a clubhouse that they hang out with, and there's got to be like a slime set. Like every toy play set had like something where you slimed your action figures. So that's why there's a big slime set piece in the in the middle
I
of the
love
movie.
it. And Nickelodeon kind of inspired.
Yeah,
Also,
totally,
90s, it's all coming back. So that's
Yeah.
super cool. I love that aspect of it.
Cool.
Can we talk about it? I can put a spoiler alert. The ending really surprised me, actually. I didn't see it coming. Like, usually you kind of be like, okay, I know where this is heading. I was like, what? And then it, like, credits started rolling. I'm like, for real? And then I watched it through credits, saw the end credit scene. That was
Yeah.
much too. But I was like, whoa, this was a very unexpected ending for me. And it leaves so many doors open for what happened, sort of thing. Was that the
Yeah.
idea of it from the start? You had other endings planned? Because this one actually really caught me by surprise.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, no, this was always the plan. Like I said, like I wanted to create like a whole world and a universe for this. So I feel this movie is just like the start of something that could be much bigger. Like our plans for if there was ever like a sequel, we have like such awesome ideas for it, and ways to like continue the story. But I wanted the ending to have like we could have done it the conventional way, and the movie probably
Right.
would have gotten over even better. But for me, like the short film, Slumber Party Alien Abduction short film, That starred my dog, and for me, I felt like the hero of that character was the dog. And then at the end, the dog, you don't know if it dies, but it's like this shocking, like kind of ending, and kind of punches you in the gut a little bit. And so I didn't want to do the same thing with the dog in this movie, but I wanted the end of it to have like kind of a similar feeling to it. And but if you look really closely and see what had happened to that character, we have I don't want to spoil too much, but there's we have lots of plans for that character to continue on.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I loved it. I thought it was awesome because I'm like, it really caught me by surprise. And when a movie catches me by surprise, it doesn't give you sort of like the imagine or kind of think we're conditioned to get.
Yeah.
It's like it startles you for a second, but I'm like, I want more. I'm thinking about this more. It gets you more invested in what's next potentially, and just like going back into it. I feel like when filmmakers surprise you at the end, even maybe it's sometimes unconventional or whatnot, it's a good thing because it gives you that like moment, and then it's like, I want more. I'm interested. What's happening? I'm researching, that sort of thing.
Yeah, that's something I've always tried to achieve with my movies. I like my favorite filmmakers are the filmmakers that you can't trust. Like when you go and you watch like there's no way I could ever compare myself to Brian De Palma, but when you watch one of his movies, I feel like I'm on edge because like anything can happen. Like I don't trust him at all, and so I want audiences to have a similar feeling when they watch one of my movies. Is that that anything could happen, and I don't want you to trust me. That's for sure.
Exactly. Always in for a surprise. That's a good thing for the viewer,
Yeah.
Be surprised going into it. And I have to ask you I'm a huge Dark Side of the Ring fan. I've been following your career. You've done some amazing stuff with that.
Oh, thank you.
Anything you can drop here about a season 4 potentially? Because, we've been waiting a little bit here after, you guys put in a lot of episodes in the previous last season, kind of did doubled up, but
yeah.
News, anything you can share?
I can't share anything officially yet. I'm not allowed to, but
okay.
We just finished Tales from the Territories.
That's another one I'm looking forward to. Yeah.
Oh, great. Awesome. Yeah. So that we just finished, and we're working on some stuff, but I can't say what we're working on, but I can say that Dark Side of the Ring is definitely not, it's one of my, it's the only show I would like ever want to work on. It's also my favorite show, and so there's nothing more than I would
seen the last of it. I'm guessing at some
there's
point.
nothing more I would love than for it to keep going. So yeah, hopefully so.
That's awesome. Do you feel like also because like I feel like kind of WWE stole your thunder in a sense, trying to take it with a biography series they've done? I know. Like, did you feel like, oh, they're trying to do something that we really succeeded with here?
No, not really. Just because I feel there's so much wrestling content out there, and I watch a lot of wrestling content too, like just on YouTube, and so I don't know. There's I feel like our movie or our show, like hopefully, has inspired people to get into the history of wrestling. And the more for me, the more the merrier. I think it's awesome. 10 years ago, I would have loved to have had like, this much kind of content and documentaries that dive into the world of wrestling. So yeah, I think it's cool.
Another thing is too, like, I wonder, like, we are in a boom now with streaming and everything when it comes to like crime docs. People are obsessed with it more so than ever. Do you think this show could have had the same impact if you had done it 10 years ago versus in this time and space where it's so widely consumed and people are really like into the crime sort of aspect of it, which we now found out that wrestling had a lot of crazy stories, that dealt with that. Do you think the show could have been different or gotten a different reception if it was done maybe 10 years ago?
I'm not sure, actually. It's a good question. Probably not, because I imagine we're getting audiences that are, fans of true crime documentaries. But our show is inspired by The Thin Blue Line, the Errol Morris documentary, which came out many, many years ago. And now we're seeing a lot of people, filmmakers that are taking inspiration from it, and I think if you're a fan of true crime, it's like this is such an amazing time for it. There's so many true crime documentary series out there. It's hard to keep up with it all.
I know there's too much almost kind of. And quickly before we leave, any news on when the Tales from the Territory is going to be coming out? When can we expect it? Because that's something.
It's out. It's out. You can see
it's out
it
already.
It's dropped. Yep.
Oh man!
So you
How
can
did
see
I
it
miss
anywhere.
that?
Yeah. No, you can get it anywhere. It's on iTunes. I think you can even buy it on YouTube. It's on Vice. Yeah, you can check it out
Oh
anywhere.
man, I'm like waiting for it. I didn't even hear like the extra release date. Well, that's awesome. Now I have something to look forward to check out right after this.
Good. Yeah, awesome. I'm super proud of it. When we were doing Dark Side of the Ring, there were so many stories we would get that just couldn't fit into the episode because the Dark Side of the Ring is just so concentrated like on one particular story. So over the years, Evan and I making that show, we would collect these stories and hope that one day we could find an avenue to get them out there. And luckily, $7 and The Rock were also super inspired by that time period. And The Rock has always wanted to do something about like the history of the time period in which his dad was wrestling. So yeah, that show is just filled with the most insane stories like I've ever heard in my life. So yeah, check it out.
Oh man, that's awesome. Glad that you brought me back to earth here because I was waiting actually for who knows how much time and while it was out. So
no, I got you, man. I got you.
Jace, this has been a lot of fun. I've been wanting to talk to you for a while. This was a fun watch. Two aliens versus kids, man. Kids versus aliens. So, they're both going against each other. And hopefully we have a more continuation from this because you left it nicely and open ended. So
I hope so, man. Yeah, if you guys are watching, please, if you dig it and you want more, be loud about it because that will really help me to convince people to allow me to do it.
Absolutely. Hey, thanks so much for taking time. Hopefully I get to talk to you again. This isn't the first and only time here.
Yeah, anytime. Thank you so much, man. Take care.
You got it. Thanks, Jason.